Hello, Ophelia.
Hiya there. Good morning or good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon from here. Good afternoon from here. Now, Ophelia, you and I are getting together for this little play date because we are part of a much bigger event on Instagram.
That is right.
Pass the Brush, and it is
That's
linking artists to work together. Now, the thing is, you and I actually go back many, many years, don't we?
A long 2013-ish, I believe. And actually, in this journal, I have a record of how we met, because do you remember when you used to do the calendar stages?
Challenge. Yeah, I did that for quite a few years. Yeah, so that is some years ago, isn't it? So we go back a long way. But before we start chatting, do you want to just say a little bit about yourself and just tell us who you are and where you come from?
Absolutely. I am Ophelia Staton. I am an art journaler, kind of goofer offer person. I like to paint in journals, but then I also love to do abstract paintings. That's kind of, I guess I do them both equally. I fell into this world by way of like rubber stamping and such like that, scrapbooking, and then found a journal as just a safe place, if it is, to just kind of play around with different things. So it's like your journals and color kind of collide. I am also a demo artist and instructor for Jerry's Artorama here, which is my local art supply store. And last year I was brought on by Derwent as their educator for the United States. And so I was actually last summer in your neck of the woods.
You were, just as I was away on family vacation, and we couldn't even meet up, could we?
Yes, yes, and yes.
And you are based in America?
Absolutely.
Okay. Now
I remember that so vividly.
Yeah. Now let me tell you a little bit about me, and then if people are watching, they can kind of visualize where we are. So I'm Kate Crane, and I'm in a really rural village in the north of England, so kind of surrounded by fields and a lot of cows. It's that kind of, you know, the typical rolling English countryside around here, very quiet, with my family and my older teenagers who are back at home, of course, because of this pandemic, so all at home together. And yeah, I've been playing with mixed media, I think, since about 2008. So like you, before that, kind of very neat card maker, scrapbooker, but then I think we all go the same way. We all get a little bit messy, don't we?
Absolutely. That's exactly it. Exactly.
Yeah. So one of the reasons that we're kind of having this conversation today is that we on Instagram are trying to share not just our friendship, but we're trying to give a bigger audience to Black artists. Now, I think actually if you and I had met in real life and had a conversation, I don't think we would have been talking about race, because I think our friendship and our interest in art and shared clips of families with children of similar age and things, I think that's what our friendship has been based on. However, I think after all this recent, there's been such a lot of unrest, and I think now a lot of us have realised that it's not good enough to just say, no, I'm not racist, that we actually have to do more than that. And we were chatting the other day, and I said to you, I have quite a lot of Facebook friends, and they're artists, a lot of them. They're not really people that I know, and on Instagram, but a very small percentage are Black, but Black people must be making art. So there is an imbalance somewhere, and I think that's what we're trying to address on Instagram. We're really trying to address that whole imbalance. Okay.
Yep.
So, well, we have agreed, haven't we, that we are going to paint in our journals as we have a chat today. So this is like our little play date. So we're going to be painting, and we're going to share photographs and pages, aren't we? I think we have quite similar styles, and we both have a passion for bright colours, don't we? which I think is why we linked up on Facebook in the first place, is because you see people whose art is similar and what you like. And,
Absolutely.
yeah. So I think we'll be sharing our kind of bright, colourful pages, won't we? So I'm going to start painting. Are you?
Absolutely.
I'm using acrylics. What are you using today?
I am using acrylics as well, and it's usually in my same vein of yellows and reds, some
You
pinks.
don't say, because that's exactly. See, here's my palette. Here's my yellows and reds and pinks, you see. This is,
and I'm going to show you
my go-to colours. That's so funny.
I don't know if you
chosen the same
see
colour.
that, but yeah, we are. I feel as though that's what kind of drew us together as friends in the first place, is just our love for vivid, bright colors.
I think you're right. And I think that is what draws you to people that you don't necessarily know. In places like Facebook, you make a connection.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so I'm just working on a page here that I've kind of already done. And the way that I like to do my backgrounds is where I just kind of glue random bits of paper down to kind of give it some visual texture. And I've gessoed over that. And now I'm just kind of, I don't even know. I know that like we're having ourselves a paint along, and usually whenever I even start, I have no idea other than color as to what my page is going to look like.
Me either. I have no idea where I'm going. I'm just literally scribbling some paint down, because that is how I start. And I will also add collaged bits as well, but maybe as I go along. But I thought I would make the focus of my page about the Black Lives Matter, about the whole kind of friendship, but around the race. So I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do that yet.
Okay.
But
at least you have a general idea. I just literally usually will start with colors, and my page just kind of evolves from there. Sure. So I am just kind of, and I think this is the way that I usually work, where I just kind of dance around the page. A lot of times I start with a brush and end up with my fingers in the midst of it.
Yes. Well, the other day we were looking at I was looking at the photo of you with your very painty fingers that we're going to use on Instagram, and my husband glanced at it and said, "Oh, someone as messy as you."
I'm telling you, Kate, that's it. It's this whole freedom to create and just play that just makes me, even when the world is so dark out there, this is just my hiding place, if that makes sense. Sure. Like this whole studio, this being in my journal, regardless of what is going on, and see, there I go already, but regardless of what is going on out there, I literally just come into my studio and sort it out in color when I can't, you know what I'm saying? So that's why for me, this is just so very important.
It's quite a hard question to answer, isn't it? If somebody says to you, why do you create? It's quite hard to answer that, I think.
I agree. It's almost as though it's just a part of you. I don't know about you, but I feel as though for me, it's just like a part of who I am. And if I don't answer that part of me and create, then I don't feel whole. I don't know if that even makes sense.
It does make sense. But do you get quite grumpy? Because I can get quite grumpy. Or if I start painting and it's not going right for me, I can feel really genuinely grumpy. And I can't always put into words why. I just get really cross at myself.
Absolutely. And let me ask you this, when you get in that space, what do you do? Like if you feel as though you're painting and things just aren't going well, or maybe you're in a funk, how do you get yourself out of that? Like or do you just kind of keep going at it?
Sometimes I do the wrong thing, which is to keep going and to get more and more cross with myself, and then produce pages that I don't like and feel really frustrated by the whole thing. And I never learn that what I should actually do is just walk away and come back another time. And then things tend to fix themselves. So I do think if you're in a bit of a creative funk, yeah, walk away, come back, things get better.
Absolutely.
I can't teach myself that lesson.
Absolutely.
You know, hindsight is a wonderful thing. I know I'm hindsight, but not at the time.
That, I promise you, that's exactly me, where I feel as though I want to force it, and that's totally the wrong thing to do.
It's like you can't let it go, even though you know it's not going well. You just cannot let it go and walk away.
Yep, that's me. And it's amazing what fresh eyes will do to something when you feel like it's just gone down a hole and you can't bring it back, to just walk away and come back the next day. I do feel as though it's important for me to actually show up every day. You know what I'm saying? Where I have to at least be in my studio space every single day so that it all stays fresh. Even if I'm not creating something, just being in my space makes me a totally different person, where I'm present to my family. I'm just a better person because
yes, I agree. I can hear everything that you're saying. But aren't you also a school teacher and you teach art all day?
I am.
And you still want to come home and make art?
I am. And I'm kind of reversed in that every morning before I even get dressed to be an adult human being, I come to my studio, which means I am here every morning around 4 a.m. I know. And I get up and I paint, or I create, or I do something so that I'm not such a grumpy person for the rest of the day, if that makes sense. So I come up here, I get everything out. Now I go to bed super, super early, but I have to come up here and at least create something for me before I get my day started, or else, like you said, then it's just the whole day is kind of off. So I feel as though that's very, very important. And even my students at school, I teach high school visual arts. My students will even say to me, like, "Ooh, we can totally tell when you don't get to paint in the mornings because you're so grumpy." And I'm like, "Yep, you're right. You're totally right."
Yeah.
So creating just makes me a better person. I know that sounds very weird, but it just totally makes me a better person.
I think so many people will really feel the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do.
How's your background coming along over there? I'm going to show you my progress. That's what I've got. So
we're looking kind of similar there.
I was about to say exactly the same colors. Now, I don't know about you, but like as I'm painting, and so far I've gotten myself some reds and some yellows and some pinks. Eventually I'll come in with like a BAM color. So this is my turquoise to just kind of make everything pop.
Yeah.
That's just kind of, but so that's my idea so far, but and maybe throw some collage elements in. Now, where do you find your collage when you're working, or do you make it yourself?
A bit of both. I have this. Let me show you. This is my little box of treasure that lives literally within reach. You see, I could just reach down to it there. I'm quite a lazy artist. Once I start painting, I don't want to move anywhere. In here,
this is mine.
But in here I've got all my little sort of collage bits and my bits of ledger, so I don't have to go far. I can just reach and grab a bit, like stick it down as I go along.
That's exactly the same here. And I also like to use collage to add punches of color, where you like to gel print, don't you?
Oh yeah, and there's lots of my little gel prints in that box to use as well. Oh, fabulous.
Same. And that will also help me add color to things without even adding more paint.
Yes.
So
brilliant. Collage is the answer to everything.
I agree. I totally agree. So maybe I'll just cut out some of this. And you know what? I think we should call our play date today 2 Girls in a Journal.
Oh, yes, we shall do that.
Hey, and you know
sure.
what? Did I send you one of these pencils? Can I just tell? Oh, yes. Yay, we're twins.
Love the dark pencils, the dark marks.
I love it. I love it. And that's me. Now, do you use washi tape in your paintings or journals? Okay. Oh my gosh, Kate. Oh, I love it.
I do.
I love it. I feel as though, honestly, we are all just so very similar in the way that, yes, our artwork looks totally different, but we're all just so similar in what we do and how we create. And I just love it. That's why I literally just love this whole world of art that we have. And it just makes me totally happy to be with other creatives, regardless of where you are in this whole world, to just kind of create and play.
What do you think white artists can do to address the balance?
You know, that's a very good question, because I feel as though oh gosh, see, it's kind of hard. I think
it is hard.
Like you and I, we just do it, and I think for us it's very natural because we've known each other, and we make it a point to just be kind, creative souls, and create from your heart and your soul, and that kindness just kind of gets out there. That's a hard question, Kate. I think it's just,
and it's hard to address, but I think it has become clear that we need to do more.
Yep. I think it's just being your
it's hard knowing how to do more, or there's also, for me, quite a big fear of doing the wrong thing, but unintentionally doing the wrong thing, because it is politically a real hot potato at the minute, and it's you're almost sort of frightened of trying to do the right thing. So
last year I met the most wonderful lady, and again, I think it's just you being your authentic self that draws people to you, whereas I am my authentic self and it draws people to me. And so I met this lady, and she sent me this yesterday. I know.
Fab. That's
and
really fab.
It's, oh my, I mean, like, I was like, oh my gosh. And she was just the most beautiful soul. And which kind of answers the question that you asked. When we are just our authentic selves, that's the difference. I can't fake a friendship with you, and you can't fake a friendship with me because somebody says, let's be friends for this month. We were just friends.
Absolutely. From a lot of years.
Absolutely. And art taught us.
Tell us more about your work for Derwent, because this is really interesting, because Derwent is such a very, very English brand. So Derwent is based in the Lake District, obviously where the name came from, Derwent, and it was a very, very old firm. They've now moved into a newer premises, a bit larger factory, haven't they? But they still have the old pencil museum where you can go around and have a look, and a little a cafe where you can sit and actually colour in the tables with all the products. So how did you, from America, find yourself in Derwent in the north of England?
That is correct.
This is very interesting.
It was, when I say, like, the entire time I was there, I think as I was getting on the plane, I messaged you like, hey, guess where I'm going? The whole thing felt so surreal. Like, I cannot even believe little old small town girl Ophelia from Creedmoor, North Carolina, which is north of Raleigh for us, winds up on a plane traveling to the United Kingdom. And it was just so odd that out of, oh my gosh, it still feels so surreal where out of all of the people in the world, I was contacted. Yes. Yeah. And that where, so when you think about, like, a lot of times I always say, like, if people were selling confidence, I'd be the first person in line to buy it, because I just, you know, I'm always thinking, like, why me? Like, why would they ever pick me?
I think it's called imposter syndrome, isn't it?
You're absolutely right.
You've heard that phrase, imposter syndrome.
Absolutely right. Yeah. Yep. So there I was, and what I do for Derwent, or pre-pandemic, was anytime an art company or like an art store had some sort of event, like a grand opening, or maybe it was like an art festival type thing, I would go and just kind of demo or train on the Derwent line of products. Derwent here in the United States is distributed through McPherson's in California. And so that's how the whole connection, I guess, was made. And when I say it has, again, we circle right back to the whole art. Like, art has taken me places and introduced me to people that I would have never, ever, 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 ever met.
And me too.
If it had not been for art.
Me too.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we never, I fell into it all a bit by accident, really. You know, because like you, I was teaching in school, but now kind of the art side's taken over. I found I couldn't juggle doing both in the end, but I never intended it to happen.
Right. That's exactly it. That's right. You were into music, is that right?
That's right. And then I moved into primary schools and I taught the young children for a while. But then got a bit too busy trying to juggle too many things. So it sort of came to decision time in the end.
I understand. I totally understand. I have been teaching school for 18 years.
Wow.
So, I just figure I will just keep going, and which is why it seems a bit crazy, because when you say, like, there's that healthy balance, sometimes I look around and I find that, like, I'm so, like, because I am here, or I do a overnight flight to get home for my daughter's volleyball game, and I leave straight from the airport to get right to her games, and it just all gets out of control. And there's a lot of times when I step back and I'm like, Ophelia, you really need to slow down.
Yeah. But it's interesting though as well, because when we were chatting earlier, when we were chatting earlier in the week, you said, which I really identified with, if I've got all this time on my hands, I don't do anything. To do something, I have to be really busy. And there is a saying, there's a saying, certainly in England we have a saying, that if you want something doing, ask a busy person.
Absolutely.
Busy people get things done. And I'm the same as you. Like, sometimes with this this whole lockdown and pandemic situation, people are struggling to get motivated. They've got all this time to make art, the one thing they always said they needed more of, and actually really struggling to do it. But because we've always got too much time, haven't we?
Yep, that's it. I think I said to you the other day, by now I should have learned a whole new language. I should have mastered drawing or whatever, and I've mastered Netflix and naps. That's me. That's literally all I've done, because I feel like I have too much free time, and I think, like, oh, I'll just get it done tomorrow. I've been wanting to clean my desk off for months, and I have not even gotten that part done. And it's like, Ophelia, really?
How is your page coming along?
Here we go. Oh, I love it.
Yeah, we're looking kind of similar though, aren't we?
Oh my
That's
God.
so funny.
What
Because
kind
we
of
can't
journal
see
is
really
that?
what each other's doing.
Absolutely. What kind of journal is that? I love that.
You know, this is one that I just made because one of the things I did say in lockdown, I wanted to teach myself bookbinding. So, and a friend of mine online, she's called Lynn, she did one of my classes, but she did it in a big A3 journal where she'd cut pages out to use for something else. So she had these really long, thin strips in this journal, and it looked amazing. It looked really amazing. So I wanted to do a similar kind of really tall, thin.
I love that.
Just unusual kind of size and shape to play with. So, and I've just got like a paper leather cover on it. So
oh my gosh, I love that. See, your pandemic lockdown situation was not all wasted. You learned how to do bookbinding.
Yeah, I did set myself that little challenge to do that for sure.
I love that. I love that. So I think especially when I'm creating, I just kind of like maneuver my way around the page, just almost not even thinking and just putting down color. I will often switch brushes from a larger to a smaller, and I just kind of, when I say I just goof off,
yeah,
I literally just goof off, because one thing I've learned is out there, and I'm pointing outside, that's hard. Here has to be fun, and it has to be relaxed, and it has to not feel as though it's a chore, or else I won't do it. So this to me has to be play and just goofing off.
Sure.
See, I have to get mine done in the morning before I even start my day, because and I started that practice when my children were very little, and you know, like once they wake up, my day is over. So I got me out of the way before anybody woke up, which was why I started getting up at 4 a.m.
You know, when the children get older, because yours are a fairly similar age to mine, the challenges just change, don't they? So you then become the chief chauffeur and driver, and like you were saying, the football training, or matches. You know, it's all to be juggled and managed, isn't it?
Yes.
So the challenges change. They're older and they're easier in a lot of ways, but the challenges are still there, I think.
Absolutely, which is why I had to start painting or just doing things for me and my mental health before any of them wake up for the day.
And because it is so good for mental health just to be doing something.
It is
something that you can focus on, that takes you out. I always say it takes me out of my head. You know,
absolutely.
That's worry about too many things, especially at the moment. The world's in a mess. We have a lot to worry about.
I agree.
So it's what you can do that takes you out of that.
I just keep all sorts of random stuff on my studio table, and I'm going to use this to make me some circles. But yeah, so that's by the time I get home in the afternoon, and in my high school class during the day, I have about 100 and say 20 students. All of that noise, I can't even form a sentence by the time I get home. So my power hour for my art is in the mornings. That's where I'm most creative.
That's quite
in the afternoon.
It's quite a nice time of the day, that very peaceful first part.
I agree. I totally agree. Because in the afternoons, I'm spent. Like, I don't turn my radio on in the car on my way home. I don't answer my phone. Yeah. I can't answer my phone because I'm spent. I am spent. So that's why I have to get my journal play out in the mornings, or whatever play. If I paint on a canvas or whatever it is I'm doing for my own good, I have to get it done in the mornings. Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it. Then
we're very similar going on here.
I agree. I think, so maybe there's parts where I will save for journaling later, because I definitely want to record this day in my sketchbook. One thing that I know is that, yes, you and I have been friends for, gosh, it feels like forever. However, I love that this whole thing of Pass the Brush brought us together, because I would love to just have chill out and paint days with Kate more often, or
I think we can, and it's really interesting how it's opened up that whole thing and that whole discussion, and has kind of pushed us into doing this Zoom, which actually we probably should have done years ago.
Absolutely.
You know, we should have, these sort of online play dates, we should have done it years ago. But it's kind of now that situation and brought us together even more.
Yeah. Now that it's here and now that we've done it, I see us doing it far more in the future.
I think we can. Yeah. And I will be very interested to watch over on Instagram and watch what happens, and make sure that you tag everything with your IG tag, and hopefully we'll send people over to you and get this much more open conversation about race in the arts, because there's definitely, I'm statistically, it's not evenly balanced in the way that it should be, I don't think. So, we're hoping we're addressing that a bit, aren't we?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And the fact that, it's, gosh, it all comes back to, for me, that we've been friends. Like, we are true friends. This is not a front that we're putting on that, like, oh, let's be friends for this movement. No, we've been friends and we will continue to be friends.
Yeah. Even my pencils, because we don't have Jerry's Artarama here, so even I've got my Jerry's pencils here.
Yeah. And I think it's phenomenal that the world gets to see that we are true friends, and that there are, yes, of course we have the conversation, and this helps us to dig a little deeper into who we truly are. But in the whole essence is, we're two girls with a journal that love to paint.
Yeah.
And we truly adore each other for forever now,
Friends, yeah, BFFs, aren't we? BFFs now.
Absolutely. For sure. And I do feel as though, like, definitely, even after this all passes, and even after the world quiets down about it, because, sometimes I feel like this will come up and then it kind of eases off, and then it comes up again and then it eases off. But even after,
it eases off because not enough happens. Not enough change happens. So then it will flare up again. There will be another event that sparks it again, because not enough has changed since last time. And I think certainly for me, because I live in, as I say, northern rural England, it's a very white area. That's not a good enough excuse to say it's not happening round here. It doesn't affect us. It affects everybody, and we all need to address it. And it would be really nice if we could just sit back and say, let's all just be kind. It doesn't work like that. We've seen plenty of unpleasantness, especially in the last few weeks. It's reared its ugly head. And you and I can sit back and say, well, it shouldn't be like that. We should be friends. Let's be kind. And unfortunately, it's not the case. And this is why it will keep continuing. But hopefully, by making more connections in the art world, sharing work. I think this is a great step, actually, a sharing step on Instagram, raising awareness of it. Hopefully, we'll start to see some change.
Absolutely. I agree. And if we are just more mindful that, now that we've even both admitted, like, gosh, we should have been making this sort of connection over all these years. Now let's just make a promise to each other to do it.
Let's do it. Let's do it for sure. Now, Ophelia, after today, you're going to finish your page, send me some pictures, send me some photos,
Absolutely.
so we can edit them all into our film, and hopefully we can challenge any viewers and our Instagram friends that they might like to share and do this art journal page with us, maybe even with our colours, our kind of warm reds, yellows and pinks.
Absolutely.
Say, come on, join in, let's make a page with us.
Absolutely. I think that's a great idea. I think that's a totally great idea. And then we'll come up with something to keep it going, but then to get our viewers involved in our conversation.
Absolutely. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Love
Now,
it.
I'm going to bring it to a close there for today, because we've kind of done our backgrounds and we're ready to go away and play on them. And then hopefully we can have another chat not too far away. Now I've learned how to do Zoom. It's only taken me half of today and getting the husband involved, you know, but there you go.
I love it.
Now we can use it. We're going to do it. So I will be in touch soon, and we'll see each other on Instagram.
You betcha. I can't wait, girl. I just think let's just keep this going and be as authentic.
Be authentic and keep the conversation going, because this whole issue isn't going anywhere. We almost need to keep it going so that it doesn't just disappear again, and that we keep that awareness.
Right. Okay. Absolutely, my love. You have a great rest of your day over there.
Thank you. Thank you, Ophelia. Bye.